Life Lessons Podcast. This is Doug Spence. Today I want to talk a bit about challenges and how we face the challenges and what their purpose is and what we can do when we're being faced with challenges. So, a challenge is anything that goes against what we value, what we think is important. So it can be anything and basically what happens is we're perceiving it as pain or stress. And all it is, it's an event. It's an action or an inaction. And every action or inaction that happens in our lives, we will attribute it, we'll judge it, we'll be biased against it, and we'll perceive it as either supportive or challenging, good or bad. And really, it's just an action. It's just something that has happened. But we'll make it into more than it is. And what happens with this action or with this challenge is we'll judge it, we'll come to conclusions about it, and we'll impose our values onto the action or the inaction, or onto the person who did the action or inaction. And we will add our shoulds to it, or shouldn'ts. They should and they shouldn't. They should have done this or they shouldn't have done that. Okay, so now, whenever we do that, we are out of alignment with what is, with reality, and we're no longer appreciating what is and no longer appreciating reality. And when we do that, we get some feedback called pain. So pain is a feedback mechanism that's just telling us we're out of alignment. So when these painful events happen, we perceive them as something that's happening to us, happening outside of our control. And then we can point the finger outward and blame. And then we can disempower, and then we end up disempowering ourselves. So we are no longer creators of our reality, or our destiny, or our lives. We now become victims of our reality, of our lives. So what do we do? First off, if we want to dissolve the emotion of, let's say, anger, we have to take ourselves off of the pedestal where we're above whoever did the action or inaction. So we're out of alignment with that person. We're looking down on them, we're judging them, and we can feel anger. So look at where you have done the same or similar action or inaction in your life. And immediately your mind is going to want to deny that you've ever done anything like that. But we all have in our own form. You have to define the form. You have to define the action clearly. And sometimes you have to break it down into more than one action. So, if we're judging someone as cruel, we have to go to a moment where we have also been cruel. Or if we're judging someone as inconsiderate, we have to go to a moment where we have also been inconsiderate. And find enough moments in time where you realize, once you have enough, you'll realize that you have done this same action or inaction to the same degree as the person you're judging. Once you fully own it, your anger will start to become dissolved. You'll start to humble yourself. And when you humble yourself, you start to become more authentic. And this is kind of like owning your dark side. And knowing that you're no better or worse than any other person, any other human, any other being. And it's also proving that you're an infinite being and that you are encompassing the good and the bad. And nobody can prove this to you except yourself. But what this does is it takes you out of your high and mighty position where you've been judging, and it helps you to see the other person and yourself as human. All right. And you might have some guilt or some shame around these actions that you've done or inactions where you've been cruel or you've been inconsiderate or whatever it is you've decided or you've discovered. So we don't want to resonate with shame and guilt either. That's not going to serve you or anyone in the long run. So look at how it benefited you when you did it. Because whenever we do something, it's the best decision we can make at the time. In our perception, We're always weighing pros and cons in our mind. And at that moment in time, there were pros for you to take that action. There was a value that needed to be met, or a need that needed to be met. So look at how it served you in that moment and until today. Look at how it connected you with others, or connected you with yourself. Look at how it helped you to be more authentic. Look at how it helped you to gain control of your life, and how it helped you to create. So look at how it served you, and then look at how it served the other person. So if you're feeling guilt or shame, if you're feeling guilt, it means you're perceiving that the other person received more drawbacks than benefits. So look at how it benefited them. How did it help them to connect with others or themselves? How did it help them to be more authentic? How did it help them to gain more control over their lives and begin to create their lives? How did it help them to expand and to grow and to learn? And you'll need to think of enough. You'll need to think of maybe 10 to 20 benefits to them and to yourself before your guilt and your shame, your perception of guilt and shame begin to change. Our perception is nothing more than a ratio that we have in our minds. If our ratio is 10 to 1, of negative to positive, then we're out of balance, and we're going to feel pain, and we're going to be in illusion. We're going to be biased. So change your perception. You have control. You have the ability to change your perception. And by doing that, you balance yourself out. Sorry. And okay, dude. Sorry. Guess I was going a little too slow in the fast lane there, not thinking about where I was going. And somebody got angry with me. Decided to honk and to drive in front of me, trying to intimidate me, trying to, in my perception, maybe spray me with snow. But that's all right. He's angry. I'm not angry. I'll admit I should have been paying a little more attention, but I'm doing a podcast here. Now I get to sit right beside him in the at the light. Oh no, I have to keep going. Anyways, look at how it benefited him. He's angry. He's in pain. So our pain, again, is feedback helping us to raise our perception. So for him, that was an opportunity for him to become more patient, to become more understanding. Okay, it's a snowy, slushy day. So yes, I was going too slow. Yes, I was in the right lane, but I also needed to take a right. So left lane. So I needed to take a left. Anyways, all logic aside, in the form of energy, he's resonating in anger, and he's going to feel pain when he does that. So I actually have compassion for him that something like that can trigger his pain, can trigger his anger. Something that small and insignificant. So what happens in his life when something truly devastating happens? How is he going to handle that? Right? If he loses his job, or if there's some kind of economic collapse, or if something happens, someone he knows passes away or dies tragically, how's he going to handle that? Is he going to spend the rest of his life living in anger and suffering? Or is he going to find purpose and meaning in it? Is he going to use it to help someone, to serve himself and others, to benefit himself and others? So I challenged him just now. I challenged his values. All right, guys, the Life Lessons Podcast. There you go. Stay in the slow lane. Pay attention. All right, guys. That's all for now. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.